Yeah, hi, thank you. Hi, Sergey, and thank you, Carol, for this. This is going to be a very unique sort of format of VCTV, the venture capital TV from LATOKEN. But the thing is, even though it's unique, it can be a little funny as well because I'm just talking to one person today. However, I think Sergey just mentioned before we went live that we're going to make it very interesting, and he has a lot of things to share in relation to the topic. So, guys, welcome to VCTV. This is a Tuesday week, so we know understand that everybody is busy. So that's why we don't have any speakers tonight. But Sergey could manage to squeeze in his time into VCTV. Irina couldn't show up. I think her internet was a bit weak this week, so that's why she's not here. So we understand the issues, the challenges that technology has right now, with especially everyone working remotely or working from home. So welcome to VCTV. Myself, Sunny Mohanty. I'm the regional director of LATOKEN, and I host this shows Monday to Friday, every day at 8 p.m. Singapore. This is the Asia episode of VCTV. So we cover different topics. Today we're going to cover work technology, and remote technology. So as the name suggests, I mean, everybody is working remotely. Everyone is sort of mostly working from home, with the multinational companies like likes of Twitter and Google have just announced that their employees are gonna work from home for the rest of the year or maybe 2 years down the line. So it's going to be all home working. So what happens with the physical interaction? What happens with the people connection that we used to have back in the old days? A lot of things we're going to discuss, not only from investments, because we have 1 hour with our guest speaker, keynote speaker of the session, Sergey. So we're going to discuss a lot more than just investments today on our panel. And I'm very much excited about it. So, Sergey, welcome to VCTV. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for giving your time.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad to join. I mean, I did not expect I would be like the only guest and having like an hour of fame. But okay. Well, I even poured myself a nice cup of tea. It's actually a Serbian tea, a Serbian herbal tea, very, very nice. And I have a chocolate cookie. So I'm prepared for a more relaxed investment and startups conversation. I'm sure we will discuss many topics, and this is going to be quite exciting, I think.
Yeah, let's do that because you just have 1 hour of airtime to yourself, and
Yeah.
we can just make it a little fun. If we'll see how it goes. I mean, let's just take
Okay.
it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, a bit introduction for those who don't know me. I'm Sergey. My name is Sergey. I'm a managing partner of Infosys Capital Partners. It's a boutique venture capital company that does consulting and investments. We have offices in Singapore, Hong Kong, and Bangkok. We expand to Europe and US, and we work with high net worth individuals. So we help them source the right deals. We help them do the financial management and supervise the startups, and we follow up to these startups up to Series A, helping them raising the money and many more. So one of the, for example, recent successes we're very happy about is a startup called Emphers. They're a Southeast Asia-based e-sports company that just very successfully went through pre-Series A. It's founded by ex-Twitch executives. So yeah, we have a couple topics today, which is RemoTech and WorkTech. Okay, so I've made some notes for myself, just not to because I cannot take this all out of my head. So here are here are one of the things I wanted to discuss. So there is a very interesting topic about AI and using AI in anything remote tech and work tech. But what people think, and that's why I'll be actually also curious to ask you, Sonny, how you see it. People usually think of AI as a clever voice assistant, something like Alexa, or whatever, Siri, or whatever it is, or just some augmented vision that you have, with these glasses that add some sort of reality, and AI kind of identifies what it is. But thing is that people usually don't think beyond that.
Mm.
And my point of view is just all startups, entrepreneurs, they should think that AI
Yeah.
actually have a great future in mass production, in agriculture, and heavy machinery. Let me give you one example. Just a couple of days ago, there was a great article in Wired magazine. It said that the improving batteries, and I mean our usual lithium-ion batteries that we use in mobile phones, cell phones, in laptops, and all that stuff, they are hampered by very slow experimentation and discovery processes,
Mm.
which means they cannot test that many possibilities to invent new batteries. But the thing is that currently with machine learning that enhance the speed of experiments like 10, 20 times, like very massively. And they're currently inventing new types of batteries that can hold for much, much longer, which
Right.
leads us to the thing, and this is kind of the database they are accumulating.
Mhm.
But well, of course, scientists hope that there will be shared databases. So if machine learning, accumulates some kind of a database that they may share probably with other, researchers. I don't think that's possible because scientists, of course, hope for this, but businessmen don't usually like to share any databases with anyone. But the thing is that this kind of AI opens up a lot of opportunities for reinventing the mass production and cutting off the longevity of experiments and discover new ways. So what I mean, for example, in other AI, this is like RemoTech, right?
Yeah.
So AI for call centers.
Right.
The company named Balto just raised 10 million Series A. And what it does, it listens to a conversation between client and operator.
Mm-hmm.
And basically it learns the scripts from operator, how
Right.
to answer the client. It can suggest the best answers. But we kind of all understand that this is basically the substitute for the human operator, right? Because
Yeah.
this kind of, I mean, there's a little, uncertainty about this because this operator kind of trains his own substitution because, well, the better AI is trained, the less work for operator remains and less amount of operators needed. But these are kind of usage of AI, not just, intelligent speakers or these kind of augmented vision. What do you
Yeah.
think?
So
Yeah,
again,
what do you think?
one question to you. When you say that AI is going to probably replace the operators, so are there? So what about the IVR systems? I mean, the IVR systems, the touch,
Yeah,
the IVR systems have already replaced the
you
human
mean the
being.
IVR that
Call center, you just call and you just have automated.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
I remember this stuff from, I'm coming from also mobile technologies. I think I started in 2004 with these
yeah,
mobile technologies when there were Java phones, and that's the only services we had. And the mobile content was some ringtones and pictures and all that stuff that you share online. And we had
yeah.
IVR services. Yeah, that was a huge success. I also worked with um, famous mobile content provider. It was actually the #1 vertically integrated in the world. It was
Mhm.
called Jamba.
Right.
Yeah, they invented this. Probably you remember, like this annoying crazy frog, like like ding ding. That
It's
crazy frog that
great.
annoyed a million billion of people around the planet for about 1 year. I think so that was their invention, and
Yeah.
later it became Fox Mobile, and I worked as a strategic development director for them. So
Wow.
yeah,
Excellent.
so IVR, yeah, it was back in 2008, I think. So mm, the thing is that IVR technology is kind of how old it is, like 15 years more.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting. I mean, I understand when you say IVR, you mean that someone just calls and having this automated menu and
Yeah.
directing you. Yeah, but if you ever, I don't know how it is. For example, yeah, I know for some
Basically, you
countries.
have an automated menu like press 0, press for this. When you call your bank,
Yeah, yeah.
you have to press few numbers
Well,
before you.
In Singapore, it's quite fast, right?
Yeah, obviously, yeah. You choose your options. For example, if you have technical issues, you get connected to an assistance. Obviously, you get connected to a human being on the other side. But before that, the voice itself gives you a lot of options. Like, are you going to pay your bill? Are you here for buying new purchase? Are you here for customer support? Are you for lost and handset or something like that? You got different options, right? So that's like one that's like obviously, let's talk about call centers. Like back in the days, the call centers were really booming, especially in Philippines, because they have all this outsourced call centers over there. Same in India as well. So what's the future of these call centers, these big contact centers that used to be back in the days? But these were huge, and Philippines was one of the leaders in hosting them, like homing them, these contact centers. I know businesses, I knew people in Singapore where they had business, they were running a business out of Philippines, and that was their sole business. But because of this pandemic, I think they are the ones, their business model probably has been affected a lot, because you have huge buildings and where you home so many people on laptops and phones, and they're taking calls and servicing their clients. So I mean, what do you see? I mean, this is also one of the aspect of working remotely when they were outsourcing sort of the support centers away from the main head office. So how is it going to get affected with AI coming into play? So do you think more reduction in human interaction, which is going to happen, or
Yeah, yeah, that's an interesting topic. Sorry, I couldn't resist it to buy this nice chocolate sweets, but then I remember that I have a microphone here, so it's what it
oh,
probably like sounded like. Yeah, because yeah, there was a great echo here because there's like a huge in the apartment. It's like 40 meters 40 meters
are
living
you,
room. It's like I'm sounded, yeah, like I'm in a huge space. If I just remote turn off this mic, turn off these headphones, then you will sound very weird.
are you in a cafe or you are in an office
No, no, no. That's apartment.
or your apartment?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's apartment. That's one is like it's for the heating.
Oh, is it cold there right now?
It's plus 14, but the night is quite cold. Yeah, yeah, I know you forget always being in Singapore that it's cold. Yeah, living I also lived a long time in Southeast Asia. I remember how I always forget about this.
So
So
talking about Southeast Asia and Singapore, when did you open your office? But when did you incorporate an office in Singapore? When was that?
when or why?
When? When? Yeah.
Yeah, we are quite young. I mean, it was right before the pandemic. So it's for them, for the capital partners, we just opened the office
Okay.
in Singapore. So yeah, back to your question, what you've asked about the call centers. I think the future for them is not bright,
Yeah.
because the moment this technology becomes, commonplace, then using this AI technology will be way easier than, unfortunately, maintaining all these call centers.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't like what they did with these call centers, because basically they paid, people a fraction of money. I don't know if they were paid good according to their country standards, but I mean, we should all face the reality. They just moved these call centers to Philippines or to India, to Bangladesh, to save the money, to save the cut the costs. But I mean, my experience, speaking with banks in, let's say, Singapore, Thailand, you still have to press a few numbers, but the
Yeah.
waiting time is like, I don't know, probably like a couple of minutes. But when I was living in US, I remember I waited 30 minutes to call the bank. And I think the sole purpose of calling, your bank in US, the sole purpose for them is just you give up and not calling them. So they can call you back, but if you just you put it through this, press this number, and then it's like, okay, you're like number something in line, please wait for 25 minutes. They hope you will just give up.
Remember those times, like back in when I was back in the UK, it's a loop. Like you press the numbers and it's a loop. You get back to the main menu and you were back to where you started from. And literally after trying or waiting on the call for maybe 30 minutes, you literally give up, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But I think we've come a long way since then. Talk about chatbots, like, the chatbots, like we have.
That's why for them, I mean, these kind of AI operators are very important, because people these times, a lot of times, people do not realize they speak to, automatic operator. But the chatbots, I mean, I remember it was, I think, 10 years ago or more, no more, when I was presented by a famous Russian internet entrepreneur, Igor Reshmanov. They developed this chatbot. It was very unique at that time. I mean, they really were ahead of their time, because more than 10 years ago, no one was really that interested in chatbots, because they were kind of stupid. No one, everyone, when you say chatbot, everyone kind of remembered, in the all Microsoft Office, they have these small kind of avatars that popped up and tell you something that you should do in Word or Excel. So that kind of reminded of this to the people, and people ask them, are they smart? I mean, how they can maintain the real conversation. So for the chatbots, um, yes, there is a future for them, obviously, also, but we should understand that these are just the places in the pipeline. So the chatbots are usually just one spot at your sales pipeline,
Yeah.
and their goal is to, answer your questions and quickly help you to make an order or connect you to a live operator if you need some help. But they're just a stage in all this revenue process. When we think about call centers, it's either support or, it's banking support. Again, for the companies, it's important what place the call center takes for the customers. Does it help customers that's already their customers, but they kind of need help with the usage of the product? Or they need all these call centers serve as, sellers? So I think for the sellers, that's where the opportunity lies. So, I mean, the AI could bring more to the table here. If AI can sell more effectively, or even closer effectively than humans, then there's a huge opportunity lies there. What do you
Yeah.
think?
Oh yes, because I think I was listening to Gary on our panel, because he's the AI expert. And he mentioned, obviously, so one of the sectors that we focused on was education, and how to keep the children who are in the lockdown, especially in various countries all over the world, and how can parents ensure they're actually getting the right sort of learnings every day, because everybody is at home. When children at home, they're studying, and you've got the parents also working. It's difficult for a parent to be monitoring a child. So one of the speakers, he highlighted that his son wakes up. So his class starts at 8:30, and he wakes up at 8:25 in the morning, and goes boom on, and he puts off his video, and he's just lying in the video and just listening, or maybe listening or not, maybe maybe not listening. So one of the takeaway from that was, one of the learnings from that was that if some AI based emotion, something to capture the emotion, like you don't have to switch on your video, but interactive, like, questions popping up, timing, on a timely basis, where the teachers can monitor if a student was attentive, then they can answer them properly. Something to capture the emotions,
That's very good topic actually, because as for the capturing the emotions, so you see, there is an interesting point right now happening in VC's world and startup world. So there are no face-to-face meetings, almost no face-to-face meetings right now between investors and startups. Yeah, in some countries, when, for example, in Thailand, there are zero COVID cases, almost, so there are, offline meetings happening, but still, people try to play safe here. So when pandemic just hit it, I've got feedback from my fellow VCs that they close the deals only with those startups they have met before the pandemic. I mean,
right.
face to face. And thing is, there are not many deals being signed with the companies they never met privately.
Right.
Okay, we are now moving into the second wave for the Europe, for example, and the borders are still closed. So the thing is, investors don't like to invest in startups they never seen face to face, because it's a matter of trust. There is a lack of trust. So what if current technology could help us with that? I mean, at least give more understanding, more feedback about the person we're currently talking with. Because, for example, when we speak about trust building, I mean, okay, I have this, founder that I'm speaking on Zoom. I never met him privately, and I don't have anyone at the spot to meet him and give me his unbiased opinion. This founder may tell me all nice stories about startup, but I can't sense all the right emotions, because, because we are not the same space. I can't see these micro gestures, and even the internet might be lagging, so it's kind of problematic. Even if I put him on a huge screen and in my apartment to see him big, he may speaking with me through some small screen, and he doesn't get this kind of a connection. So that's a matter of trust, and especially if we speak about Asia. And I've been working with the Asian market for about 12 years already. So there is basically nothing happens in Asia without face-to-face meetings. I mean,
That's
nothing serious.
absolutely
So I mean, that's one of the that's one, by the way, that's a probably topic for another discussion. But that's one of the ways. I mean, how European managers or US managers mistaken very gravely when they come to Asia, and they think like everyone smiles and they will just sign these deals in a moment because everyone smiles and they can probably even call and get a deal. No way. You have to meet, because you need to understand that there is an importance of food in Asian mentality. So without sharing the food together, you cannot make a deal later.
yes.
So how you can do this online?
Very good point, Sergey. Very, very. You have touched upon a very good, how to say, cultural aspect of deal making or closing an investment. So culturally, Asia, as you rightly pointed out, people go on lunches, big dinners, where the deals actually get closed. China, I think Singapore as well. They say India. I had somebody from India, one of the investors, and she was like, she would never close a deal without meeting maybe 5, 6 times over a dinner or a lunch, Um, so, so culturally, I mean, this has been the way in the past, pre-pandemic. But as we go further deep into the pandemic, and we think the pandemic is here to stay, right? It's Q4 2020. It started in Q1. It's already Q4 2020. We still see deal flows. We still see investments, but obviously they didn't happen with those physical meetups, right? They did happen remotely on a digital medium via a digital medium like a Zoom or a likes of Zoom. So having said that, do you think the cultural aspect of Asia is going to change? Is going to shift more towards digital engagement? It's a good point, if you think about that, as you rightly said, in Asia, it's more about the meeting somebody in person, and after maybe 5-6 rounds, even more than that, probably there's a chances of a deal to get closed. So do you think because of this pandemic, the things are going to shift?
I don't think that's going to shift so easily. I mean,
Yeah.
Asia is, I think, okay, we cannot speak for whole Asia. I mean, obviously there are differences between the countries, but, at least Asian mentalities, they move slowly but steadily. So, that's the thing, for example, that amazes a lot of Americans during the negotiations with the Chinese partners, because the Chinese partner, they just say them the proposal like in a very fast way, like, okay, do we have like a deal, are you interested? And the Chinese partner will just keep silence for, let's say, 5 seconds or 10 seconds, which makes them nervous. And the thing is, that's their strategy, because they just take a pause and thinking. An American partner thinks that they made something wrong. So they will make a counter proposal right away without waiting for the reply, which is a mistake. Because they can just pause for a minute, look for them like 10 seconds, and okay, your partner again started proposing you something different. So the thing is, I mean, I don't think Asian people will be that eager to change their patterns. Of course, if they are very much interested in the deal, they will go to, they will think of some other ways. But if you just at the early stages and you're hoping to close in a deal, that's a big question, these cultural differences and the question of location. I also wanted to touch this about, the Silicon Valley, because these cultural differences, with the sharing the food and talking about small things, you know how it happens, right? In Singapore, you're meeting people, and that's a business lunch, but you're not talking about business for about an hour. You're just sharing your
Small
views
talk.
about the food, very small talk, yeah. And only at the end of this lunch, you can start talking business.
Yeah.
So this is a kind of relaxed way and proper way of doing this.
Yeah.
But how you can do this online? Probably, maybe we just needed different forms of online conferencing for this kind of stuff, and that involve different things. Or, and that's an interesting point, could these deals still happen online? For example, I have a friend in Singapore who owns a, cannot disclose his business. Okay, he got a deal, very important deal, for about $200 million investment for 8 years or something. He got it from Chinese investors, and the thing is, he desperately needed to get into the space where these investors were seated. They were like sitting behind the closed doors in South Korea. And a friend, Korean, he knew these guys, and he just pushed him into this room and said, talk to them. And he was like standing all there with all these Chinese investors. But well, it definitely helped because he's also Chinese, so he can speak
Right.
Chinese language. But still, I mean, how could things like this happen in an online meeting? Because we already have this shield
Yeah.
when it's online meeting. So you're already like shielded. I cannot feel your energy. You cannot feel my energy. So we have this, this kind of distancing from each other. So in terms of, and that's why I wanted to mention it, like in terms of location, we all know that Silicon Valley has its sway, yeah, right? So everyone dreamed about going there, establish a fabulous startup, and be there with all these great companies.
Yeah.
Just yesterday, I saw, I actually To my bad, I haven't seen this movie called Mulholland Drive, famous movie by David Lynch,
Mhm.
which considered one of his best. But I mean, it's kind of about the broken dreams of Hollywood as
Right.
well. I mean, and it's kind of similar to Silicon Valley in this case. So this way, people, why Silicon Valley had its way, right, and why it had its magic. First, it was Stanford, and second thing, you were in this same space with other investors, entrepreneurs. So it only had its way with online meetings, offline meetings happening.
Right.
But now with the pandemic and many rich people still like behind closed doors and saying we're not going anywhere until there will be a vaccine.
Yeah.
And there's a really, very, very rich people like with the net worth of over $1 billion, and they're saying we're not going anywhere until there's a vaccine.
Hmm.
So how do you meet these people there? And that's an important question. Okay, Facebook put it, it's Facebook, Twitter, a lot of companies just said, okay, guys, to the employees, you can work from anywhere.
Yes.
You don't need to live in San Francisco. And a lot of people decided, okay, why do we need to pay this huge rent in San Francisco for about like $6,000 when we can live for thrice less in somewhere nearby nice place? We can live in, I don't know, somewhere near San Diego. Okay, so that's the thing. As offline location, it was hugely important. As online location, is it still that's important? Is location that important in this case? Because if you just remove these offline happenings, then it becomes what hugely expensive place to hire people to live there, and without possibility to actually meet all these investors and
Yeah.
yeah. So that's a thing. Can online remote tech and work tech help us in this case?
Right.
Uh, yeah.
Yeah. So very good point, Sergey. See, there are two aspects to this. I see it in a different perspective. In the sense, there is work tech, there is remote tech. For instance, for with LATOKEN, obviously we are a very global company, and we are all over the world, and we all come together for our meetings every day from various parts of the world, and it's working absolutely fine. And we I think because of this medium where we are just coming together as one team on Zoom, we've known each other very well as team members. We know each other's responsibilities in the company, and and because we are not traveling, we tend to be like at one place. And we can cover like 2 hours at a stretch. So in terms of work, remote work itself, I would say technology, because of the technology that we're using, Zoom or likes of Zoom, as I said, the productivity I can see has gone up. But however, coming to your points, when somebody is closing a $1 billion deal and they haven't seen the founders before, they haven't met the founders before, and or they're doing a big M&A, is it that smooth to get people on a online platform and close a deal? Because it's not the same as just working remotely every day.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I mean, with the $1 billion deal, it's might probably work differently. But if we, what I believe, okay, you can close like 25, $50,000 investment remotely. That's probably possible if you haven't seen these founders. It's not a big amount of money, so yeah, it's usually done through angel investments, all this kind of stuff. When it could be angel syndicate, whatever it is, they can invest remotely. But if we speak about some probably seed round, even series A, pre-series A, no way they're going to invest in you if they haven't seen you already. So it's okay if you like met each other for 5 years, 5 consecutive years, and then you suddenly, like, because of pandemic, you can't see each other. It's okay. But what if these people never met each other? Can they still make a deal? I don't think so, because it's a different matter of trust. So these people just, investors may just shut off these deals they don't know the founders well, and they just turn the interest to the people they already know. They
Right.
have met them sometimes, or they could turn their attention into their own country, like it may be, for example, in Thailand or in Singapore, where some people can still meet each other with some precautions, and but not meeting people from other countries.
So yeah, there you go. That's the point. So basically, those founders and those startups who are already funded and looking for another round of funding, so just stick to your stick to your investors. Be close enough with them, because they are looking for funding those startups who are already in their portfolio, rather than going for completely new startup. Because again, it's all about relationship. It's all about sort of human contact and everything that goes, especially on $1 billion or $1 million deals like we're talking about. As you rightly said, if it's small ticket size, then yes, it's maybe quite it's okay to close on a Zoom like this, with a few sort of checks behind that. So for the founders and startups, for those who are looking for another round of funding, and you already have an investor, to make sure that you keep them happy and show them that you are actually evolving during this time, doing some smart pivots in the space and staying relevant as well. So that's my 2 cents to the founders who are watching this episode today. And what else, Sergey? Any closing remarks? Because we're like 40 minutes into the show.
Okay,
Uh,
okay.
do you-
So yes, we mentioned a bit of lack of trust, and I think there is some things that people can actually, startup founders can think about, and actually think of a creative way to tackle these problems, because this is a real problem that you might be solving. So just an example, let's say yesterday we spoke about gaming and all this stuff. So I play chess a bit, and for example, in online chess community, there is a huge problem right now, because for offline chess competitions, you always can control your opponent, but in online, how you can be sure they're not cheating? They are not connecting, and they're not playing with a computer and then just passing you the moves. So this is like a real problem, a matter of a lack of trust, because you cannot be sure that these people actually play with each other, not like with some PC helping them, or even like a mobile phone.
right.
The same goes to online gaming and streaming. A lot of streamers were like caught doing using cheating programs just to get the recognition, because again, this is a problem of trust. So I think the closing remark would be, if we speaking about RemoTech and WorkTech, think of the problems that you might be solving that are happening now and might stay with us in the future. Don't solve problems that are currently exist only at this very moment, but will probably go away in, let's say, 6 months. Then you might end with making a product that no one needs in this 6 months time, unless you already have already something happening.
Right. Totally agree. Totally agree, Sergey. Founders and who are looking to build something unique and innovative, make sure you're building for a longer term. Just don't think short term, like pandemic is just around for another 6 to 2 years, and let's just build something for another 2 years and we just forget about it. I think, as Sergey rightly said, build something longer term. And my closing remarks would be, when it comes to trust, that's when the blockchain technology comes into play. I mean, obviously, we know blockchain technology means a single source of truth, right? So that's where the technology comes into play. AI plus blockchain are the game changers in this digital world that we live in, because both the technologies come together. It's a very powerful tool for those startups, the technology space. Great. Thank you so much, Sergey, and thank you so much for actually being so brave to be one of the keynote speakers of the session. I really love talking to you, and I wish we can have you back again on a larger panel where we can have more interactions, more speakers. We always strive to have more speakers sharing their insights on these panels on BCTV. Unfortunately, it's not in our control to have every speaker confirm for the day. So yeah, we try our best, but some days we don't have in control.
Oh, I hope we did great. So yeah, I hope our viewers enjoyed this conversation. It was kind of, more relaxing and less, this high-level banking stuff. So yeah, thank you, Sonny, because you helped me a lot. Because if I would be, speaking alone with the audience, then it would be like uncomfortable. But you helped me a lot. Thank you very much, and it was a pleasure speaking with you.
Thanks, Sergey. It goes to you. I mean, you've been very supportive, and I think this is one of the very relaxed session I moderated so far, where I don't have to time myself. I don't have to, rush here and there and interrupt people. So thank you for your support, Sergey, and really lovely talking to you again, catching up again from yesterday. It seems like we just picked up from where we left yesterday.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it will be great to speaking with you again. Let me know what are the other events. I will be happily joining. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sergey. And founders who are watching us today, if you want to reach out to Sergey, his profile is featured now on our website, www.latoken.com/profiles. Please feel free to reach out to him if you really want some help from him, because he runs a global investment company with offices in Asia, Europe, and US. So having said that, thank you so much for your time today. And we hope to connect back again on another panel, Sergey, and I'm back again back tomorrow and rest of the week till Friday. Till then, take care, stay safe, and stay connected, and good evening.
Thank you. Drink cheers.